Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
Enough is enough, y'all. Stop saying that trans people are going to attack you in bathrooms, because it's actually the opposite. 70% of trans people aged 13 to 17 have experienced harassment or an attack in a public bathroom. Being able to use a bathroom is a basic human right. Can we all just go about our business? Literally. All right, tell them again. Period, Pooh. Period.
So I'm in the middle of doing my makeup because I'm about to go to a friend's birthday breakfast, but I decided midway through doing my makeup that I had something on my mind and I wanted to talk about it. So I'm in a new classroom. I'm the lead teacher of a classroom that I've been in for just under a month. And I love these kids. These kids are so creative and strange. And I mean, like every 2-year-old, they're strange. But I have a couple of kids that are really uncomfortable with me being one-on-one with them. And that's super normal. I'm a new adult in their life. They were also born during the pandemic where they were only seen by their parents for 2 years. New adults are hard. So I don't force it. My plan is that I'm just going to teach lessons. I'm going to read books and sing songs. I'm going to serve food, and I'm going to be present and normal in their lives. And eventually they'll get comfortable with me putting them down for nap or going to potty with them. But I have a couple of kids that aren't there yet, and that's totally fine. But I had a support teacher in the classroom, and when I asked one of the kids, hey, it's time to go potty, do you want to go potty with me? Or teacher Mary, name changed for reasons. And the child didn't answer me. She just started making a Tina Belcher noise where she's like, And I said, okay, you can go potty with teacher Mary. And teacher Mary said, no, you have to go potty with teacher Azzy. To which the child started backing away from both of us. I said, okay, we can go find teacher J. Teacher J might be able to help us. And teacher Mary said, why don't you want to take her to the potty? I said, it's not that I don't want to take her. I will happily take her. She's not comfortable with me. And that's okay. I wouldn't want to have to go to the bathroom with someone I'm uncomfortable with. This teacher said she'll never get used to you unless you make her go. And that's not what I'm about. So we ran into kind of a moment. Me and this other teacher are having a hard time together. I believe in consent fully. I believe a 2-year-old has consent. The way we show this in my style of teaching is you do have to go to the bathroom because that's a health thing. But you can choose who goes with you. You can choose if you go right now or in 1 minute. You can choose what book to take with you. All these give children a feel of power and consent. And I'm really struggling with this other teacher right now.
Let's talk about barriers to entry for women in video games, specifically controller mechanics. Now, I grew up gaming because my dad taught me how to play on the Atari and then the original PlayStation as a child. But this is pretty uncommon for a lot of women my age and older. Most video games from my childhood, with the exception of some Nintendo stuff, were marketed towards men and boys, meaning that a lot of girls didn't learn how to play video games as kids, which incidentally is the time in every person's life when they are the most susceptible to developing new motor skills. The result is that a lot of women who want to pick up gaming today have a lot of trouble. Most video game developers assume you know basic controls, whether this be on console or on PC. Some games don't even give you a tutorial and just throw you in and let you figure the buttons out. This can be incredibly frustrating if you never learned controller basics or have never played a first-person game. And this discourages a lot of women from getting into gaming without having that childhood experience. Luckily, women are overcoming this. To do a part 2, I have more.
My community building activities are not organized right now in a way that I can easily share, but I will give you an example of one that works for me. Disclaimer, I did not invent this or any of my community building activities. This is called That's Me. Put the kids in a circle, one person stands up, says something that's true about them, anyone else that's true for, they stand up and say, that's me. It's low stakes. It's also super versatile because you can ask a question instead of just being a general true statement. For example, the classic, what would you take with you on a desert island? Or what's something that defines your identity? You could even make it competitive by timing how quickly they can go around the whole circle and beating their own time, or taking away a chair, and every kid who stands up for the "that's me" has to run for a new chair, and whoever's left standing at the end is the next person to tell a truth. If you're virtual, replace standing up and sitting down with camera on, camera off. And depending on the question you give at the beginning, you can even use it to do stuff like review for tests, preview new information, all sorts of things that are beyond the general getting to know you stuff. But this is me, and that's a community builder that I use a lot.
The funniest thing about Anita Sarkeesian to me is that all of her videos are like the most basic milquetoast feminist 101 critique of video games you could possibly get, that feminists have been making for literal decades at that point. The sheer backlash she got from the gaming community, you'd have thought she was the second coming of Jack Thompson or something. Oh no, she's coming to take your games away. No, she's just coming to critically analyze the games you enjoy. There is a difference.
Okay, so boom. Gamergate was a 2014 4chan anti-feminist hate mob that used a very vicious breakup between two gaming developers as an opportunity to facilitate a 4chan raid. A raid that would not only be used to harass and dox the woman that was involved in that breakup, but also other women that were involved in the gaming sphere in general. What started on a 4chan forum called Politically Incorrect, Gamergate comprised of essentially two groups. The first and smaller group being online extremists that used the worry of journalistic integrity as a cover to harass and dox racial and gendered minorities online. The second and larger group being people who probably had a real concern about journalistic ethics in the gaming industry. However, they didn't spend a lot of energy having any meaningful conversation about journalistic ethics in the gaming industry. In my opinion, these were people that were really just upset that the gaming industry were pushing out games that had more diverse representation. Now, the smaller group is the genesis for Gamergate. They were the ones that blew up a gaming developer's blog talking about his relationship and subsequent breakup. They were the ones that invited that man onto their forum with the self-admitted and explicit goal of not only destroying his ex-girlfriend, but other women in the gaming industry. They were the ones who self-admittedly chose ethics in gaming journalism as a cover, not only to have plausible deniability when they got called out for harassment, but also as a tool to be more palatable and more appealing to the larger group of Gamergate. They were also the ones that claimed the term Gamergate for themselves, after the actor Adam Baldwin coined the term in a tweet that was essentially commenting on a video that was disparaging the ex-girlfriend and her sex life. The tactics used to facilitate Gamergate were tactics used frequently for most 4chan raids. These tactics were figured out pretty early on because those who were employing them admitted to doing them on public forums. Now, it should be obvious that I am not going to be able to dive into the wide breadth and nuance of what Gamergate was. So I will link a video done by Innuendo Studios in the comments section that does a deep dive into Gamergate. I think it's very important for people to check that video out, even if they don't care about Gamergate itself, because the tactics of Gamergate has become successfully mainstream, and a lot of terrible people have gained power thanks to those tactics. So if you want to figure out a way to combat that, Gamergate is the perfect place to start learning.
I am going to read you a paragraph from the article A Guide to Interneting While Female by Anita Sarkeesian, where she discusses gaslighting and online harassment. Gaslighting is the undercurrent traveling throughout online harassment, forcing women to question their own experiences. Women are told that they are not reliable witnesses to their own lives, writes Rebecca Solnit, that truth is not their property, now or ever. When we dare speak up about digital abuse, the response is a cacophony of voices insistently telling us we're making it all up, or that it's not really as bad as we think it is. We are told, just ignore it. It's not real. It's just the internet. Toughen up and grow a thicker skin. These flippant sentiments are an aggressive denial of our lived realities, erasing our experiences and suggesting that the abuse inflicted on us is not real. And by extension, our fears and anxieties about it are not real. But the harassment is real. And if you've experienced it, you aren't alone. We must actively work to create a digital world where we don't ask women to disconnect from their emotional capacity or jettison their own humanity in order to deal with a constant barrage of threats, slurs, and abuse.
Я